on, turn all the lights on and all that. You don't even have to tell me you're going to do that. You just come over here and say, okay, I'm ready to start my pre-trip. And then I go like this, and I say, all right, let's do it. So then you come over here, and what you're going to do is you're going to turn the key to the on position, which is one turn to the right, because there is a turn to the left. That's auxiliary. Just turn it to the right. You're pretty familiar with trucks already. Turn your lights on here. This is how you turn the high beam on, by pushing this forward. 3 point, I can't reach that. If you can reach it from the ground, hey, turn it on. But if you can't, you'll have to 3-point contact, get up here, turn your 4-way flasher on, 3-point contact, get back down. Always make sure you close the door when you leave the vehicle, okay? You never want to leave the door open and go do something, because it's considered a safety hazard. So always close the door. You make sure you come to the front of the truck. And remember, you can combine a lot of these lights. If I'm up here in the front, I'm going to combine everything that I have up here in the front that's the same color. When I go to the side, I can combine everything on the sides. So what I'm going to start with is my clearance light. This is not a light, but we're going to treat it like a light. It's called a side reflector, okay? So I'm going to say my clearance light, my side reflector, 4-way flasher. They're clean, functional, not broken or missing, amber in color. I got my low beam and my high beam. Clean, functional, not broken or missing, white in color. You can see the tractor's not leaning to the left or to the right, and there are no leaks or puddles underneath. Now we'll go to the side. Now I can combine everything that's amber on this side. So I'm going to say my side marker light to the tractor, the clearance light, side marker light on the trailer, and back at the back I got an ABS light. It's clean, functional, not broken or missing, amber in color. And on the ABS light, you have to say, I know it's working, because it's off. That's the only thing going to be different on the light. You're going to say, I know the ABS is working because it's off. Now come to the back of your tractor. Back here, when you see those reflectors, we're going to say the reflectors. On the paperwork, it says it's white. This tape says it's red and white. This is called DOT tape. If you forget the name, it's right there, DOT. But anyway, those are called reflectors. The white ones are called reflectors. The red and white ones are called DOT tape, okay? So just say my reflectors, my DOT tape, and the DOT tape on my mud flap is in good condition. That's all you gotta say, it's in good condition, okay? Now, one thing I do want to tell you is we're gonna do all our lights and all our tape in the beginning. And the reason for that is we don't wanna have the lights on very long, right? But later on in the pre-trip, you're gonna see the splash guards and the mud flaps. If you want to do them when you're doing your lights, I'm perfectly fine with that, okay? So I would just say like my splash guard, because this one's called a splash guard. This is a mud flap, and the one on your trailer is called a mud flap. But I would say my splash guard, my mud flap, and my mud flap on my trailer are securely mounted, not damaged. That way you get your mud flaps out of the way. Down underneath here, you got 2 4-ways, and then there's 2 little red reflectors right above it. Okay, and here again on the paperwork, it's going to say, so my lights on my back of my tractor, reflectors on my back. You don't have to say on the back of my tractor, because you're back here pointing at it already. Just say my 4-ways and my reflectors are clean, functional, not broken or missing, red in color. Come back here. Looks like it was low. Right here, I'm going to combine this rear side marker light, because that's that ABS light I was talking about. It's supposed to be off. You know that already. So anyway, my rear side marker light, 3 clearance lights up there, 4-way tail light. Combine all those. Clean, functional, not broken or missing, red in color. License plate light. It's clean, functional, not broken or missing, white in color. Here's another one that you can do at the beginning if you want to, is the back door. You can say the door. Is that a bomb? The door and hinges aren't damaged. The door opens, closes, and latches properly from the outside, okay? If you want to do it when you're doing the light. You might as well, you're doing all that. Okay, reflective tape, DOT tape on the bumper, good condition. Okay, I combined all that. Now, once you finish that, you're gonna say Roland, or whatever you call me. Say, Roland, can you stand over here off to the side? Because I'm gonna go up front and I'm gonna check my turn signals and my brake lights, okay? So I stay back here, you go up there. The first thing you're gonna do is turn the 4-way flasher off, okay? Then you're gonna get down off the truck, put your hand on the brake pedal, press the brake pedal. I'm checking your brake lights on your tractor and your trailer. I'm gonna give you a thumbs up letting you know they work. Then you do the turn signal. It doesn't matter what side you do first, just turn a turn signal on and remember to close the door. Physically walk around to the front of the truck, see that the blinker's working, give me a thumbs up, I'll give you a thumbs up they're working back here. Same thing on the other side. Turn the blinker on, close the door, physically walk around to the front of the truck, you see that it's working, come back around. By that time I'll be walking up to where you're at, and I'll give you a thumbs up, and you give me one letting me know they work. Very next step, as I'm coming up here, is you want to turn the lights and the key off, okay? Everybody clear on that?
Clear.
Good, I'm trying to be as clear as possible. You know. Okay. Unlatch the hood. Come to this side. Now, one thing I need to tell you is when we're in pre-trip or we're out here, we like you to tap on the hood when you're going to open it or close it. That lets everybody know that you're about to open or close the hood, right? So tap on it. Yesterday, I almost caught Yukito. He was on the other side, and I tapped on it, and man, he moved out of the way, and I didn't know he was even over there until I saw him like jump out of the way. So anyway, you open the hood. The only two things we're going to talk about on this side is the alternator, which is down here, and the belt, okay? All the rest of the pre-trip will be done on the driver's side. So you're not going to have to be going over there doing tires, coming over here doing tires and brake chambers and all that. Everything will be done on the driver's side. Of course, in real life, you're going to want to check both sides. But for your eval and your CDL test, you're just going to do everything on the driver's side, okay? So down here, remember, it's my alternator, not this one. It's an AC compressor. We're not even going to talk about that. We're just talking, we don't care if you have AC. We just care if you have the alternator. So your alternator is securely mounted, operates properly. There's no damage. There's no loose wires. It's belt driven. The belt cannot have more than half to 3/4 inch play. And there's no cracks, frays, loose fibers, or signs of wear. Okay? We're done on this side. Let's go to the other side. That's a lot of stuff for two things, right? So I usually rub my hand across here because it helps me remember my next step. I'll go like this, and I'll say I'm inspecting all my hoses and fluids. Remember Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off? Same thing. Oh, I'm inspecting all my hoses and lines for leaks. Okay, right here I'm gonna combine it with my coolant reservoir. My coolant reservoir and my power steering reservoir. It's an adequate level, okay? Back here, I got my water pump. This is a filter for it, so that's not your water pump. It's right behind it. So you can say my water pump, securely mounted, operate properly, no damage, no leaks. It's belt driven. The belt cannot have more than half to 3/4 inch play, and there's no cracks, frays, loose fibers, or signs of wear. It's almost the same thing as you said on the alternator, only on the alternator, remember it's electrical, so you said there's no loose wires. Over here, it has coolant running through it, so there's no leaks, okay? Right here, that yellow thing is your oil dipstick. You're not gonna have to pull it out. Just tell me how to check the oil. Say, I'm gonna pull the dipstick, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out. Should be above the refill mark. Put it back in. So back here, you got what's called the air compressor and the power steering pump. You can't see them, just point right here to the frame. Just say my air compressor and power steering pump are securely mounted, operate properly, no damage, no leaks. These two are gear driven. Okay, remember those are belt driven, these are gear driven. After that, I got my power steering hose, the blue and black. On the paper it says blue and black, so here's the blue one, there's the black one. Although it's black down here, but it's really blue, it's just dirty. But anyway, power steering hose, I always keep this clean because I like to keep rubbing on it. So, that's one thing I forgot to tell you. I'm gonna be a little bit nasty, so if you don't get mad at me. Okay, don't get mad at me. Cause I clean it. But anyway, damn, I can't even concentrate anymore. I forgot where okay. So my power steering hose, there's no damage, no leaks. My steering box is securely mounted. There's no leaks. There's no broken, loose, or missing nuts or bolts. This is called the steering linkage here. My link, arm, and rod. It's three things, so there's three parts there. Link, arm, and rod. Do I really know if that's my link, arm, and rod? I don't fucking know. I'm not a mechanic, but I put a picture on everything. So I say it's like, okay, there's three things: my link, arm, and rod. It's probably called something. You probably know the name of it, drive, link, or some shit like that you were saying yesterday. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what that is. But anyway, so my steering linkage, my link, arm, and rod is not worn or cracked. The joint and socket is not worn or loose. There's no broken, loose, or missing nuts, bolts, or cotter pins. Now we go to the spring mounting hanger. So that's a leaf spring, so it's got to hang on something, right? So on each end, it's going to have that spring mounting hanger. You're just going to say my spring mounting hanger is not broken or cracked. There's a bushing inside there. You're going to say it's not damaged or missing. Leaf spring is not shifted, cracked, broken, or missing. These are my U-bolts, bolts, other axle parts. I learned that from you. I don't have to say and. So my U-bolts, bolts, and other axle parts are not BLM, not broken, loose, or missing. What's that? Shock absorber, securely mounted, not leaking. Brings us back to the brake hose, line, and coupling. Brake hose line and coupling is where it connects. WCL, not worn, cracked, or leaking. Brake chamber. That's a brake chamber right here. Securely mounted. Securely mounted. What are you here for? CDL, right? No cracks, dents, leaks. No loose or missing clamps. This is my slack adjuster. No broken, loose, or missing parts. Right here is the push rod. It should not come out more than 1 inch when pulled by hand for these guys. Which leads us to the brake drum, which is right inside the rim here, my brake drum. There's no cracks, dents, holes, no loose or missing bolts, and no debris or contaminants such as oil or grease. Brings us to our tires. I got an acronym on there of ICD. So you're going to say that inflation, we're going to check it with a tire gauge. You're not actually going to check it with a tire gauge. You're just going to tell me I'm going to check it with a tire gauge. The C is for condition. You're going to say it's evenly worn. There's no cuts or damage to the tread or the sidewall. And the D is for the depth. It should be you got to make sure you say the word minimum. Minimum for 30 seconds. Leads us to the rim. We're going to say it's not bent, damaged. There's no weld repair, and there's no rust trail indicating the rim is loose at the wheel. You got the valve stem and cap. That is a cap. It doesn't look like it, but it is a cap. Valve stem and cap is not broken, damaged, or missing. The next favorite one is the bolt holes. God damn it. Fucked up. Bolt holes. The bolt holes are not cracked or distorted. The lug nuts are all present, free of cracks and distortions, and show no signs of looseness, such as rust trail. I'm going to spit here in a minute. Rust trails or shiny threads. And my hub seal's at adequate level, not leaking. I dare anybody to do it, because you will. Spit's going to start coming out because there's so many. Because you're saying, I'm going to do it again because that was cool. My lug nuts are all present, free of cracks and distortions, and show no signs of looseness, such as rust trails or shiny threads. It was fixing to come out, I know. Anyway, my hub seal's at adequate level and it's not leaking. Okay, what I want you to remember is everything from that spring mountain hanger, all your suspension stuff, and all your brake stuff, your tires, your rim, lug nuts. Now here it's called a hub seal. Back there it's going to be called an axle seal. All of those components, you're going to say it here. Pay attention. You're going to say it here. You're going to say it here. You don't have to say it again here. You're just going to say it here, and you will say it once again back there. So 3 times you're going to say that. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 1, 2, 3. 3 times. Okay, you got that clear, right? All right. I got to be very specific because I got asked a bunch of times this week already. Do I have to say it here and here and here and here? And one even said, do I have to say it here and here and there and there and there and there and there and there and there? No. Right? I just say it here. Okay, so we're done with that. We're going to go to the mirror next. I'm sorry I'm being so silly, but it helps people remember. It's kind of an act. My mirror is securely mounted. There's no loose fittings. And everybody always says there's no loose fasteners, there's no loose bolts. All that shit will probably work, but just try to say fittings, because that's what the book says. Securely mounted, no loose fittings, and the bracket is not damaged. My door, you gotta actually open it. Because I had somebody yesterday go, my door is not damaged, the hinges are secure, and the seals are intact. Well, you can't even see that shit, you gotta open it. My door is not damaged, my hinges are secure, and my seals are intact. Depth tank, here it is. Beautiful DEF tank, blue, horse piss. That's what it's made from. So my DEF tank is at adequate level, must have a minimum of 1/8 of a tank. You might want to do like this Mexican did right here and put some plastic on it. There you go, see? He's a Mexican. And you're an American, you can do it too. All right. Y'all don't go report me for racism or something like that. And you're from Japan, so you can do it too. See? All right. So next we got my fuel. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just rolling today. I know I'm just rolling by myself, but hey. Anyway, my fuel tank. You're gonna say the cap is present and tight. I'm sorry. My fuel tank is securely mounted. The cap is present and tight, and there are no leaks from the tank or the lines. I almost forgot my cab steps, but I waited because I'm gonna combine it with my catwalk and my cat steps. So I'm gonna say my cab steps, my catwalk, and my cat steps. Cat steps, okay. They're solid, they're free of foreign objects, and they're securely bolted to the tractor frame. Okay, if you wanna look inside there, there's a drive shaft. You know what the drive shaft is? It's a black bar. Look inside there, check it out. You didn't have to get under here. Get in. You see that black bar in the middle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and just on the other side of it, you'll see the exhaust. You see the silver one? Mm-hmm. That is the exhaust right on the other side. Okay. You see it?
Yeah.
Right over there.
Oh, this it?
Yeah, right there. That's the exhaust. Okay? All right, I'm trying to hold it for you. Okay, so my drive shaft is not bent or cracked, and the coupling is secure. The coupling is on the end where it connects. We call them universal joints. Now they just call them couplings. So my drive shaft's not bent or cracked, and the coupling is secure and free of foreign objects. And we got the exhaust. We're going to say the exhaust is securely mounted. There's no severe. They're looking for that word severe. Dents, holes, or damage, and no signs of leaks, such as rust or carbon soot. Tractor frame. This is your longitude. I can't say that word. Longitude and cross member. Okay. Tractor frame. You can say no cracks, no holes, no broken welds, or other damage to the longitude or cross member. Now come in here, I'm not gonna try to be fresh. Torque bar, that right there is a torque bar, that round bar is called a torque bar. You're gonna say it's securely mounted and not damaged. You see these things? They're called airbags. We're not gonna talk about those, but you see it in there? We're talking about their big ones. So you're gonna say the airbags, there's no damage, no leaks. Now we're going back to the parts that we talked about in the front. You see those? Those are the brake hose lines and couplings. You see that one right there? That's the brake chamber. Remember we talked about it up there? Mm-hmm. That greasy one right there, that's a slack adjuster. And the push rod on these, instead of being on the top like it is there, it's gonna be on the bottom. You really can't see it unless you really get up in here. Then you can see it. And then spring mount hanger, bushing, leaf spring, U-bolts, shock absorber, brake drum, brake linings again. See all that stuff in there? We're gonna go over this some more. So my brake hose lines and couplings are not worn, cracked, or leaking. Brake chamber, securely mounted, no cracks, dents, leaks, no loose or missing clamp. Slack adjuster, no broken, loose, or missing part. The push rod should not come out more than 1 inch when pulled by hand. Spring mount hanger, not broken or cracked. Bushing, not damaged or missing. Leaf spring, not shifted, cracked, broken, or missing. That bar going back. U-bolts, bolts, and other axle parts, not broken, loose, or missing. Shock absorber, securely mounted, not leaking. Brake drum, no cracks, dents, holes, no loose or missing bolts. No whatever ear contaminants such as oil or grease. And the brake lining is not worn, dangerously thin. If you didn't do the splash guard in the beginning, now would be a good time to do it. My splash guard is securely mounted and not damaged. We got to come out because we still got to do these damn tires again. Anytime we have dual tires though, we're going to have something called bud spacing. Okay, we're going to say it's evenly spaced and there's no debris or foreign objects. Okay, then we're going to do the tires again. ICD, right? Inflation, we'll check it with the tire gauge. Condition is evenly worn. There's no cuts or damage to the tread or sidewall. And the D is for the depth, should be a minimum of what?
230 seconds.
230 seconds, right? Yeah, because it goes from 4 to 2 here, and then 2 back there also. Rim, not bent or damaged, no well repair, no rust trail indicating the rim is loose at the wheel. Valve stem and cap, not broken, damaged, or missing. Bolt holes, that's what they're called. They're not really butt holes. They're bolt holes. They're not cracked or distorted. The lug nuts are all present, free of cracks and distortions, and show no signs of looseness, such as rust trails or shiny threads. And this whole thing is the axle seal. Remember, that's a hub seal? This one's the axle seal. And all you got to say on this one is it's not leaking. That one is adequate level, not leaking. This one you just say is not leaking. All right. Let's go to the front. We got to do the header board, which is the whole front of the board. What is it, guys?
No cracks, no holes, no bulges.
This is the way you're going to remember it. It's kind of nasty, but you'll remember it. Because remember, there's no cracks, no holes, no bulges. Okay? Cracks, no holes, no bulges. All right, so now we're going to start what's called the coupling area. The coupling area is everything that it takes to connect the tractor and trailer together, right? Everything that it takes to connect the tractor and trailer together. Remember, that's going to start with your air lines, and it's going to end with your pin clearance, okay? So when they say you do the coupling area, you know that's air lines and all this shit to the pin clearance. So we're going to start with the air lines on the tractor, because these air lines right here, they're from the tractor, see? They're coming from the tractor. So air lines from the tractor, let's start with those. 7 things, remember, they're not cut, shaved, spliced, worn, tangled, pinched, or dragging against the tractor parts. Now we're going to go to the airlines on the trailer. When we talk about airlines on the trailer, we're talking about these, because guess what? They're on the trailer, right? So my airlines on my trailer are sealed in good condition. These are called glad hands. They're not damaged or leaking, and they're locked in place. My electrical line is this green one. You're going to say it's firmly seated and locked in place. Okay. Now we go to the apron. The apron is the underside of the trailer. It goes from here to right here, all the way across the trailer. It's called the apron, BCB. Not bent, cracked, or broken. Okay, not bent, cracked, or broken. Next is a gap. You don't want to see a gap in between the apron and the fifth wheel skid plate. So you're going to say gap. There is no gap because the trailer's lying flat on the fifth wheel. You're going to milk, man. You going to milk? Oh. All right. So then we go to the fifth wheel, and the top part of it is called a skid plate. It's all one part. You're just going to say fifth wheel skid plate. It's securely mounted to the platform. That little bridge-looking thing is called a platform. So the fifth wheel skid plate is securely mounted to the platform. Bolts, there's 2 bolts and a pin that run through here. So you're going to say fifth wheel skid plate, securely mounted to the platform. All bolts and pins are not loose or missing, and it's properly lubricated. Okay? From there, we're going to go to the release arm. That handle is called a release arm. We're going to say the release arm is fully engaged and safely latched in place. Then we're going to go to the platform. No cracks, no breaks, supports the fifth wheel, right? No cracks, no breaks, supports. I'm getting all fucking wet. I'm going to melt. Okay? So after the platform, we're going to do the locking pins. You see these 3 pins right here? Those are called locking pins. That's what keeps your fifth wheel in that position. Your locking pins, you're going to say there's no loose or missing pins. They're fully engaged. And that air line right there supplies air, because there's a button inside the truck that you push, and those pins will go in so that you can move your fifth wheel. So you're going to say locking pins, no loose or missing pins, fully engaged, and there's no air leaks. Okay? Mounting bolts. All of these are called mounting bolts. The whole thing is a bracket. That piece is called the clamp. So you're going to say there's no broken, loose, or missing mounting brackets, clamps, nuts, or bolts, and both the fifth wheel and slide mount are solidly attached. That's a long one. Next, you got the kingpin. Remember, it's attached to the trailer, the kingpin. There's the Chile on there. So the kingpin is not bent or damaged, and the locking jaws are fully enclosed around the kingpin. You can do those 2 from back here. What I usually do is say my kingpin is not bent or damaged, and the locking jaws are fully enclosed around the kingpin. And then remember, the last one is the pin clearance. The fifth wheel is positioned properly, because remember, that fifth wheel can move forward or backward, right? If you move that fifth wheel forward, what's going to happen to these tires? They're going to come back, right? So you need to make sure you have enough space right here so that you make a turn, you don't completely tear that off or the frame and fuck this up. So you're going to say my pin clearance, the fifth wheel is positioned properly so the tractor frame doesn't hit the landing gear during turns. Okay? Now we just talked about it. Let's talk about the landing gear. We're going to say the landing gear is fully raised. This is called the crank handle is secure. There's no missing parts, and there's no damage to the support frame or landing pad. I taught you this one yesterday. Let me hear if you still know it. Try it. Give it a shot, man. You still remember it?
No, not really.
Try it, man. Look at it. It's giving you the answers.
Landing gear.
see, landing gear, the crank.
What's the first thing you notice when you look at it?
It's a
Fully raised.
fully raised.
Next.
The what is the crank handle? Secured. The
Yeah.
no damage.
No missing
No
part.
missing parts, and frame support's not damaged.
Or
or the platform.
or the landing
Or
pad.
the landing pad.
I got nervous in front of everybody. I know when I first started teaching this class, I'm but no. So it's fully raised, crank handle secure, there's no missing parts, and there's no damage to the support frame or landing pad. Then guess what? Remember we did the longitude and cross member frame over there to the tractor? Now we got to do the trailer frame. So we're going to say the box. This whole thing is called a box. This is the frame. We're talking about the floor of the trailer, and everywhere you see these rivets, there's going to be cross members going across. So you can say box, frame, floor, cross member. Same four things. No cracks, no holes, no broken welds, or other damage. Only over there you said to the longitude or cross member. Here you just say box, frame, floor, cross member. No cracks, no holes, no broken welds, or other damage. Same shit. Same thing. Let's come back here. We're almost done. Thank God. Okay. Remember what I told y'all yesterday, don't let nobody fucking tell you that that is the torque bar, because it's not. It's this one right here. Remember the torque bar up there ran vertically? Now this one's running horizontal, right? Am I right? Okay. Mexicans, every once in a while we get shit right. So the torque bar is securely mounted, it's not damaged. Okay, we got another release arm right here, but there's no button inside the truck for this one. This one you actually have to pull it. It's got a little thing right there where it hooks to that. You see how that pin went in? Now I can move my tandems. Now I'm not actually going to move my tandems. What's going to happen is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to push the yellow button, leave the red one out, which is my trailer brake. And now what's going to happen is if I need to move the trailer forward, the box is going to slide on those tandems. If I need to move it back, I just slide it back. Those tires are going to stay where they're at, but the trailer's what's moving. Once I get it where I think I need it to be, I simply come over here. Now it's probably not going to go in the hole because it looks like it's off a little bit. Ah, it did go. Good. See how it went back in the hole? That's the way you move those tandems. Remember, you only release the tractor brake. You only want the tractor to roll. You don't want the trailer to roll. That's the way you move them. So my release arm is in a secure position, locking pins. There's no loose or missing pins. They're fully engaged. And we don't have to say there's no air leaks back here because it's manual, right? But it's the same thing as you said on the locking pins over there. Got to do the damn tires again. Bud spacing, evenly spaced with no debris or foreign objects. Tires, ICD, inflation check with the tire gauge, condition, evenly worn, no cuts or damage to the tread or sidewall. And the D is for depth, should be a minimum of 2/32. Go back to the rim. The rim's not bent or damaged. There's no well repair, and there's no rust indicating the rim is loose at the wheel. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of repeating myself. I repeated myself a bunch already. Rim's not bent or damaged. There's no well repair, and there's no rust indicating the rim is loose at the wheel. Even though it has this hose on here, I'm still going to say valve stem and cap is not broken, damaged, or missing. Bolt holes are not cracked or distorted. The lug nuts are all present, free of cracks and distortions, and show no signs of looseness such as rust trails or shiny threads. And my axle seal is not leaking. Those lines on there, they're not on the eval or on the CDL test. What they do is when you turn the key, it checks the tire pressure in all your tires. And if one of them's low, it's gonna air up those tires, right? Let's say you get a flat. It's gonna try to keep it aired up until you can get to the tire station. And the way that you know that system is on, I didn't even tell you all this shit yesterday. I was waiting for her to show up. The way you know that system is working is there's a light right on the front corner of the trailer, right by where the numbers are at on the trailer. In a minute, y'all go up there and look at it. When that light is on, you know that system is on, and you know you probably got a leak somewhere. Now, it'll come on in the beginning if one of your tires is low, but it should cut off once it airs it up. But if that light stays on, that's letting you know you got a flat somewhere back here. Okay. And some trucks have them on the drive axles as well. We don't. We only have them on our trailers. Okay, so we did all the tires already. If you didn't do the mud flap, securely mounted, not damaged. If you did in the beginning, that's fine. I want you to get back here and I want you to watch. I'm gonna get underneath there. I'll probably get my ass all wet, but I don't really have any, but I got legs. My wife says, you don't have an ass, you got legs. That's okay. Jesus. But anyway, Let me get down. Okay, same components. Spring mount hanger, not broken or cracked. Bushing, not damaged or missing. Leaf spring, not shifted, cracked, broken or missing. U-bolts, bolts, and other. You might want to use your light because it's dark in here. Not just playing. My U-bolts, bolts, and other axle parts are not broken, loose, or missing. Brake hose lining coupling, not worn, cracked, or leaking. Brake chamber, securely mounted, no cracks, dents, leaks, no loose or missing clamps. What's this, guys? God damn it, somebody better spit it out. What is it?
He's talking about the spring.
What is it? Slack adjuster. God damn it. Slack adjuster, no broken, loose, or missing parts. What's this? Somebody.
Push rod.
Push rod should not come out more than 1 inch when pulled by hand. Not you. I want somebody else to fucking answer because I know you know it. What's this? Brake drum. This is the brake lining. I'm sorry. But at least you got one of them, right? So brake drum, no cracks, dents, holes, no loose or missing bolts, and no debris or contaminants such as oil or grease. What's that?
Brake lining.
Brake lining is not worn, dangerously thin. Shit, that's it. We're done. Okay, if you didn't do the back door and the mud flap, of course you would do it now, and then you go back there and say the door and hinges aren't damaged. The door opens, closes, and latches properly from the outside. What I want you to remember about the 3 different axles, remember the steer axle for suspension? You had shock absorbers up there and you had leaf springs, right? Right there on the drive axle, right behind the tractor, you had what? Leaf springs, shock absorbers, and airbags, right? For suspension. What's the only thing you see back here?
Leaves.
Leaf springs, right? That's the only difference in the axles, okay? So once you learn that drive axle, you should know the trailer axle and the steer axle, right? I know it's a lot of stuff, but it's gonna take a lot of studying. If you're not eating, drinking, sleeping, shitting pre-trip for the next week, you're not studying hard, okay? You should be waking up in the middle of the night and your partner, I'm not gonna say boyfriend or girlfriend because you never know these days, but anyway, your partner, I'm not, you see, pink? He did that on purpose. They should be waking you up in the middle of the night saying, why do you keep saying slack adjuster in your sleep? And if you're not to that point yet, it's because you're not fucking studying. And tomorrow and Friday, if you're not out of here, I'm gonna bring a whole stack of applications for Walmart. And I'm gonna tell you, probably go fill one out because you're not gonna be a truck driver.